I know you're sick of hearing everybody talk about the quarterback competition and talking about Aidan, talking about Gardner and mobility and arm strength and blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to talk about Aidan's ability or Aidan's work ethic or anything that has to do with who will be starting in the year 2024, although I do think it is Aidan. What I want to discuss is something that I don't feel like we've been talking enough about in terms of our Super Bowl window, our GM Tom Telesco, and our current financial situation. And it is very comparable to another team right now that soon is going to have to make a very important decision about their quarterback. That team being the San Francisco 49ers, who have a quarterback that is playing off a 7th round rookie contract. What people are not talking enough about is Aidan O'Connell, and if he turns out to be the guy for the foreseeable future, he's going to be on a rookie 4th round deal for 3 more years minimum. Obviously, at some point, if he turns out to be the guy, we're going to have to extend him. But for the time being, we will be able to use his contract to get different pieces in trades and in free agency, extend other guys while he's still playing as good as he can to get to that Lombardi trophy. Our Super Bowl window is a lot closer than people think. And I've been saying it for weeks now, but we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We just hit 7,000. We're 3,000 away. I'm trying to do it before week 1, Chargers against the Raiders. If you can be so kind as to consider subscribing, if you're a new viewer, if you're an old viewer, just hit that sub button. We're trying to get to 10K, and then we take off. Let's go. It might not be this coming year, but after that, if Aidan develops into a great quarterback, we will have the financial flexibility to go trade for someone like a Brandon Ayuk, or go sign a big-name free agent defensively, or go get another right tackle, because we will have money not allocated to the quarterback. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, for example. Before Mahomes signed that $500 million deal, they were able to have Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce all together, and then we know they got rid of Kareem Hunt for whatever off-the-field issues, blah, blah, blah. And they won a Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill, but then the time came. They had to decide, we need to wrap up Mahomes long-term. We're not going to be able to pay top dollar for Hill and Kelce. And they said, who is more easily replaceable? I don't know if they made the right decision or the wrong decision. Well, they won a couple of Super Bowls since then, so I guess they made the right one by getting rid of Tyreek Hill. And the Dolphins were able to trade for Tyreek Hill because Tua wasn't making any money. That's the key here. If you look at a team like the Chiefs, they were able to make the hard choice of getting rid of Tyreek Hill because their quarterback is so next level. Look at the Bills, for example. Because Josh Allen wasn't able to get it done with Stephon Diggs, that window financially has now closed, and they had to trade Stephon Diggs and draft a rookie. And I think that rookie will turn out to be pretty good. We'll see how good the Bills are. It's going to be interesting. But now, with the San Francisco 49ers, they are the next team that's going to have to make some decisions. Because they've already extended Juwan Jennings, which is their third-string wide receiver. They drafted the kid from Florida to replace either Debo or Brandon Ayuk, because they're not going to be able to keep both, assuming that Brock Purdy gets a long-term extension. Their Super Bowl window with this core unit is gone. Not to say they can't get back next year, the year after, the year after. I'm sure they can draft well and develop guys, and this Florida wide receiver seems to be pretty good. The problem is, because they had Brock Purdy on a rookie 7th-round deal, a Mr. Irrelevant deal. They traded for Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. They had every single star player imaginable and still didn't get it done. And that's the risk you take when you give all your money to players that aren't the quarterback while he's still on that rookie deal. And now they have to make a decision. Do they keep Debo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? And right now, it looks like they're leaning keeping Debo, or it looks like Ayuk is the one that wants to be out. And look at us now, a team with Aidan O'Connell on a rookie 4th-round deal. We are able to go out and get someone like a Brandon Ayuk because we had the financial flexibility, which means if our Super Bowl window isn't this year, it starts next year and it goes for 3 years, because then Devontae's out of his prime. You might have to extend somebody like a Max, Colton Miller. What do you do with him? What do you do with Zamir White? These guys will be needing new deals. Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson. When we were thinking about what quarterback we should get, Jaden Daniels, blah, 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 sign Kirk Cousins. Even though Jaden Daniels or Drake May would be a rookie, they'd still be making more money, way more money than Aidan O'Connell. And I think a part of the reasoning for going with Aidan, other than his ability, or potential ability was the idea that Aidan can play as good as these guys, maybe, but for way less. So we don't have to extend Aidan for a couple years, and we can go out and get a Jalen Ramsey, or we can go out and get a Hassan Reddick, or we can go out and get a Brandon Ayuk. And I think that was a very smart move. And I bet you that was a move that Telesco came in and said to AP, look, if you want to build this defense with Christian Wilkins, I don't think we can draft a rookie and pay him $30 million or whatever a rookie contract is. I don't know what it is. It's probably close to that now with all the inflation. We should roll with Aidan because you won enough games with him last year, and we should just fill the roster 49er style with talent all around him. And all he has to do is be Brock Purdy, manage the game, make a play every now and again, and we'll be okay. And I think Telesco deserves credit for that. And people, when we signed Telesco, people were like, well, look at the salary cap for the Chargers. It's absolute chaos. He wasn't in charge of the salary cap. Their owner's insane. He doesn't want to spend a lot of money, yet he does want to spend a lot of money. It's very strange. And there was a salary cap guy in Los Angeles that was like creating chaos across the board. That Chargers roster was good enough to win a Super Bowl. They just didn't get the head coach right. And look, that's a Telesco problem. Obviously, the owner probably has final say on who is the head coach of the football team. And Telesco was the one interviewing guys like Brandon Staley. And he went with Brandon Staley, and that was a bad move. And that might be Telesco's fatal flaw, being able to pick a head coach out or figure out which guy is the right guy for the roster. But guess what he didn't have to do when he got hired? Find the head coach. The head coach was already there in Antonio Pierce. And Mark Davis made the right move by hiring Antonio Pierce. Speaking of the financials and Mark Davis and blah, 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 I see sometimes a lot of comments roasting Mark Davis, and he's an easy target. And I know we haven't been bad. We haven't been good since our Super Bowl. I get it. We haven't been that good since Al Davis died. I get it. I think it's a little irresponsible to just crucify Mark Davis for the decisions that he makes as if he doesn't care. This guy, his whole life is getting the Raiders back to where they were when his dad was the owner. He cares so much about this team. He's the one who moved the team from Oakland to Vegas when everyone said that was a terrible move. And guess what? Instead of being one of the poorest teams in the league, we are now one of the richest teams in the league, which helps us sign free agents. And it is a place with no state income tax where people want to play. So that was the first great thing he did. The second thing he did was when we had to fire John Gruden, which wasn't, it wasn't up to him. It wasn't his fault. It was something he had to do. He didn't want to do, but he basically was forced to. He was the one who appointed Rich Bisaccia. He was the one who knew he would be the guy. And look, then he went with Josh McDaniels, and we got a little bit of revisionist history where everyone's like, everyone knew they should have went with Rich. It was never McDaniels. Look, when we hired Josh McDaniels, not only was I excited, a lot of Raider fans were. A lot of Raider fans weren't, but the pundits who know what they're talking about said, this is a great, gutsy move by Mark Davis. He went out there and he got the big fish, and this shows that he wants to win. And he was wrong. Most of us were wrong, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care. He is really trying. And this time around, he went with the right decision, I think, in the interim guy. And the players talk about Mark Davis like they like him. Max Crosby, he goes, yeah, we all fight, but we're family. And we love the guy, and we love Mark, and he's paying our salaries, and he's trying to get the Raiders back to where they should be. And I think that we're not talking enough about that. Maybe that deserves a separate video. Let me get back to the financials. My point with all of this, with this entire video, was to show you that our Super Bowl window is closer than we think. I don't think it's next year unless Aidan has a crazy leap. I don't expect a crazy leap. I expect incremental leaps, jumps, hops, if you will. But because of his contract and because Gardner Minshew is making not that much either, right? Our quarterback room is making no money. And he knows he has to go out there and prove himself. He's not going to be like, well, I know I'm good enough. Even though I'm a rookie fourth rounder, I should be getting paid more. I'm not going to, that's not who he is. That's not in his character to be like that. He's going to go out there and give it his all. And I think that was what Telesco came in and talked to AP and Mark Davis about. He knew that they were going to ask him about the financial cap situation in San Diego / Los Angeles. And he was like, look, I know how to fix the mistakes. I made bad decisions before. I know how to right those wrongs. That's why we're going to roll with Aidan. He's going to be on a rookie contract, and we're going to fill him with Christian Wilkins talent and Michael Gallup talent and all these guys that we can sign with the money we have. And keep in mind, we got that Jimmy Garoppolo money. So this is not over. I think they're going to look at training camp, look at the preseason maybe even before the preseason, and go, what's one more player we need to push the Kansas City Chiefs to the brink of winning the division? And I think they're going to look and see which teams are unhappy with some players that they have. Could be a Jalen Ramsey, could be a different corner. I don't know. I've suggested Jalen Ramsey. Hondo's been talking about a guy we've been looking to trade for a while, a superstar that would blow up the internet, blah, blah, blah. Is that just talking, or is it real? I don't know. We'll find out. But there is somebody out there looming that I think we can make a deal for, especially with this money. There are no free agents right now, and apparently Xavier Howard's like a bad guy now. Okay, I didn't know that before. I guess he's a bad guy. There are free agents out there now, sure, but they're not impact players that plug and play that can just change the outcome of the season. I think a trade could happen. I think a third or a second or a fourth for one of these superstar people, package those picks together. Maybe we do make a run at Brandon Ayuk and go, you know what, screw it. The more talent we have, the better. Let's go Devontae, Jacoby, Brandon Ayuk. There's your three wideouts. Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer as a 12 personnel with Ayuk and Devontae and Jacoby out there. Then what are you going to do when Trey Tucker and Michael Gallup come in off the bench? What are you going to do? How are you going to stop us? I think there are still moves to be made. And just to be clear, I know literally nothing. This is all speculation. This is all opinion-based off of the salary cap and off of other insiders saying what they think they heard. I know nothing. I will tell you if I do know something. I probably never will because it doesn't seem like I have it in me to keep anything a secret, if I'm being honest with you. If I heard that we were trading for Jalen Ramsey, I'd come on and be like, we might be trading for Jalen Ramsey. With all that being said, I want you guys to comment this. What are your thoughts on potential players we could bring in with the $24 million because of the Aidan O'Connell contract? Are we in a position to become the 49ers of the AFC with a smart game-managing quarterback, with offensive weapons comparable to the 49ers' weapons, with a stout defense and a great special teams? Are these things you see in our future? Where is our Super Bowl window? Let me know about all this stuff. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs before the new league year. You've heard me say it a million times. I'm going to continue to say it until we don't do it. But for right now, let's spam that subscribe button. Drop likes, drop comments, and please be sure to subscribe. I already said that. It is free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.